from the Ron Miller Race Car Studio, this is the Hammer Down Racing Report. And now your hosts, Scott Hammer and Ron Miller.
Welcome, race fans, to the Hammer Down Racing Report. You got to wait till you pop up there for you.
Oh, yeah, well, fine. Scott Hammer here.
What?
What? Who are you?
What the hell is wrong with you?
I'm so confused anymore. I don't even know what day it is, Scott.
Welcome to the Hammer Down Race Report for May 14th, show number 130. Man, lots to talk about, lots going on today. Things are changing by the moment. A lot of news, even within the last few hours, I guess you could say. Yeah, and we got a big show on the way just a little bit. We got Craig Dippman's going to present the awards virtually for our virtual car show award winners, the bracket thing we had going forever. I'm trying to do two things at once here. Sorry. And later on tonight, we will have Steven Partin of Brush Creek Motorsports Complex. And he's going to talk to us about how he was able to put on some races down at Peebles, Ohio, his track, this past weekend. I guess went to court, and I don't know all the details, but they got things worked out with the health department. They were allowed to have some fans, and they went racing this past weekend. And just today, some other announcements. Some other tracks are planning to go racing a little closer to here. We'll talk about that a little bit later as well. So, and NASCAR's back, and they've actually just released their second installment of their schedule as well. So things are happening, and yeah, I'm excited. I think.
The folks at Fox are thinking there's going to be a huge viewership of the NASCAR the Cup race on Sunday. They're expecting it to be through the roof.
Well, they're hoping, I'm sure. So,
yeah.
Before we get to our Dippman Motorsports Virtual Car Show Award ceremony with Craig Dippman, and he also has a big announcement too that we're going to let him make right at the beginning of that. Got to pay some bills. Ron Miller Race Cars. Give that guy. It's always back
right here.
Give that guy a call. 734-856-7223. I got to get my car up there still too. You got room yet? You still got a bunch of cars?
I can sneak it in first of the week.
Okay. Give him a call. He's got parts, safety equipment, and then my brake line I still got to pick up. I'll probably be by tomorrow for that, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Gift cards, whatever. 734-856-RACE. Also, thanks to Dean Henry, Big D's Pizza in Clyde, Ohio, for sponsoring us here with our special social distancing setup, which may continue now through the rest of the year. As we had a meeting at work virtually. We have meetings like this through Microsoft Teams, and they said something about it's possible we may.
Yes, I do, Joe.
We may be working from home for the rest of the year. What are you talking, Ron? You cut the gotcha. As I started,
one of those hair jokes.
Thanks to Dean Henry, Big D's Pizza in Clyde, Ohio. Give him a call, 419-547-1444. Mention the Hammer Down Race Report, and you'll save 10% off any order. Also, thanks to Oak Shade Raceway, just north of Wasion, where the fastest meet to race every Saturday night when we're not social distancing. Thanks to Racing for First Responders for supporting first responders. You can check them out on their Facebook page. We interviewed Rob Rim last week about that. Pretty cool dude. And give Kester Mowing a call for all your lawn and landscaping needs, mowing, seeding, fertilizing, insect, and weed control more. You can give Steve a call, 419-466-3801, and tell him the Hammer Down Racing Report.
I understand they do some pretty nice landscape design work, too.
Yeah, that was in there, landscaping. They did a good job. They did mine. So, and nothing's dead yet. So it's good. And I'm good at killing things. Trust me. So let's bring Craig in here. Mr. Dippman. Welcome to the Hammer Down Racing Report. Once again, you've been on quite a bit. And for those of you that don't know, We started this virtual car show. It was actually Craig's idea. He brought it to me back, the end of March, beginning of April. We started working on this.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it was right about when all this was starting to kick off with blocking us from being with each other. So, and it was kind of a joint effort with some of my customers and other people. And I know that around the Midwest, there's several other virtual car shows that kicked off after ours.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Yep.
Copycats.
Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, so we are very flattered. Thank you.
Exactly.
So we had lots of people enter. We had to narrow the field down to 8 finalists, and we had a tournament and all the fans voted for the winners, and we're going to virtually present them with those awards tonight. Actually, you are, Craig, but before we get to that, you have a big announcement, so we'll let you go ahead and make that.
Well, the announcement that we have to make, we started to put it on the Dippman Motorsports page yesterday, working with Brian Roman, Race Cars. We are now going to be the track supplier over at Oakshade Raceway for the Hoosier tires. We sat down between Chrissy and Pam and Oakshade Raceway and Craig and Jen over at Hoosier Midwest, and then Brian Ruhlman working through getting squared away, and had a few little hiccups getting the deal put together, but just made it back about an hour ago from Plymouth, Indiana, with the first load of Hoosier tires.
Very cool. Look forward to
a little bit of foul weather to drive through over there, but hopefully it stays over there.
Craig, you'll be handling the bomber tires, the Sportsman E-mods, and the late model tires.
Correct. Yes, all 4 of the tires, the late model, the bomber, the H500s for the bomber, and then both the tires, the spec tire for the right rear on the Sportsman, and then the Hoosier Open comps.
All right. Cool.
Excellent.
Let's go into our award winners. Our top 4 are all getting prizes here, and I did not do that. I'm not sure what just happened. Do you want to start with our 4th place finisher, Mr. Dippman?
Yes, we will start with Dennis Whisman.
Bring him in here.
There he is.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Denny.
I had him muted. Sorry. We can hear you.
On?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, and we had, just to start out with, these guys with the voting blew pretty much my mind as far as what votes we wound up coming up with straight across the board. The level of support they were able to draw from their fan base was astonishing. The numbers really were a lot higher than I thought they were going to be, and really was surprising that the support that they were able to get. Currently, we have Dennis Whisman that is going to get a pair of Oakshade Raceway pit passes.
All right.
Yeah.
We were talking before the show started that we're going to be trying to, during that night, we're going to be trying to convert you over to dirt then. Might have to lose that spoiler.
I told these guys, you get me down there, he's got to put a crossover in the middle of that dirt track. I'm a figure 8 guy.
I'll be in that race with you. We can do that.
I've been trying to talk Pam into putting a crossover there in the infield for quite a while, but I don't know. There's that pond or the big hole with the concrete blocks around it. It might be a little intimidating.
I think the flagpole might be a bit of a factor too.
Yeah, that'll fall over easily.
In golf, it's just called a challenge.
Trap.
Right.
Wouldn't be the first time somebody's cleaned out a light pole at Oakshade.
Correct.
Oh,
Excellent. And Dennis, I want to really thank you for bringing your fans in. And like I said, we had a wide range between sprint cars, dirt, asphalt, late models. We had a wide range that showed the support towards this. And hopefully next year we're doing it in person rather than this whole distance thing. But
Right.
I do believe we need to continue this next year.
Yeah, that was definitely fun, man. I mean, you figure one or two people shared it, and then another two people shared it, and it just kind of took off from there. I kind of got matched up with my buddy Mike Young, and I think Billy Coos, the one that took pictures of both our cars, and it was kind of funny because I was up against Mike Young in that first round, and the picture of my car, Mike Young was actually working on my car in the picture that he was competing against. It was definitely a ball, and I did a lot of good-looking race cars, and I congratulate the three guys that finished ahead of me and everybody that was in it. It was a good time.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, and we'll look at getting them Oakshade pit passes to you and get you out there and get you dirty one night.
You come out there and watch the famous Scott Hammer race. Is that it? Does Ron run there speak too, or?
There you go. Maybe I'll let you run my car. How's that?
No. I don't know how to turn. I don't know how to do that, man. I tried that once, and I went down in the first turn, and I started sliding. I thought I'm gonna end up in the pits right here because this car better catch or something.
Well, Ron set my car up, so it even I can handle it. So I'm sure you'd be fine.
That's what I heard. Ron Miller sets up a car, even your grandma could drive it.
All right, Dennis. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, you,
Dennis.
All right, Dennis Whisman there. Let's see. We got our third place finisher. I don't see video, but we'll see if we can hear him. And that's Mr. Kingseed. Are you there?
Oh, Larry Kingseed, hello.
You didn't mute him, did you?
No, he's not muted. Well, yeah, we don't have any video or audio apparently. And see, there's actually a Kingseed there. But we'll try for him again here in a little bit. How about we go on to our second place finisher, because I see him waiting here in the wings, and that would be Mr. Mathew Chapman.
How's it going?
There he is.
Hey.
Even though it's not his car, he's just the driver, but that's what people associate with the car for the most part, right?
Absolutely.
All right, Craig.
Okay, and let me tell you, these two here did, I mean, just a spectacular job. We were watching the whole time this was going back and forth. You guys had a heck of a show going on there, even just to watch on the computer. I did not personally ever get to see the numbers just because I did not vote for anybody during the show. But everybody that had messaged me just sat here telling me how well you guys were just jockeying back and forth. One night you go to bed and next thing you know, you were behind 100 points the following morning.
Yeah, it was definitely it was fun to watch too. I really didn't do much tagging. I left the car owner up to all that work because that was just too much for me between work and working on the car. So
I was wondering where you guys come up with that many votes at, but
I have no idea where they came up. I think they were tagging people from preschool at that point, man. I don't know what the heck they were doing.
No, hey, if we can get them switched over and out there at that dirt track to support us, more power to you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
No, you guys did a spectacular job. And last week I was telling Scott that, I mean, we had to wait for the show to end just to find out. It was so close, we didn't know who was actually going to win at that point.
Yeah, it pretty much came down to like the last hour of it, I think. But it was fun.
Excellent.
It was good to be a part.
Excellent. Well, you won second place, a very, very tight battle for the win. and you'll be getting the $100 credit to Ron Miller Race Cars up there in Michigan.
Yay!
There he is.
We're in.
Nice.
It'll be
Now you're gonna be driving this year under a different number.
I'll be running my number this year. Brian let me take my own number back this year, so I'll be back at number 9M and not 39.
Okay.
Yep. So that's
Excellent.
cool to know. I mean, it's good to always have your own number. So
Excellent. And that is a very, very good equipment over there. One of the funnest guys as a car owner.
it's fun, man. It's always a good time over there.
Yep. Never know what you're gonna get.
Not with us guys, man. Not with us guys.
Right.
So tell him.
Thank you. What's up?
I was gonna say, tell him what he gets for finishing in second.
Yeah, I did tell.
You already did.
Oh, well, tell him again. I was busy looking over here.
That was the Ron
Stay in
Miller
the game, Scott. Come on.
Right. Ron Miller Race Cars $100 certificate. I believe you should be able to get like maybe 2 bodies built.
A couple sets of tires.
Clearly, yes. Yep. But
You're in a storage area out behind the shop.
Right. Yes. Like I said, same thing with you, Matt. You're a great guy out there, fun dude at the racetrack. Have a blast with you, and like I said, you guys put on just for the first time out, just something fun to do. This wound up being much more than any of us expected.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that many votes after the first round with Jamie. It was really close, but I never thought it would go to the level of what the final round was, to be honest with you.
Right.
So that was
No.
awesome.
But thank you guys very much, and like I said, we'll look at. I think we're going to try a anti-social distancing car show next year.
Perfect.
Get us back together.
All right.
Try getting it in person here.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Stuff clears over soon.
Yes.
Matthew, you're pretty well connected. What's your guess on when we're going racing?
I have no idea. I'm gonna just say 2021, but I hope
Oh, don't do that. No. Elizabeth, it's the big one.
You got your ride all set, ready to go racing?
Just about. Just got to get some stickers on her, man.
Well, if it comes down to it, duct tape handles that if you have to.
That's been the plan all along.
Right. I'm in the same boat with you. Yeah.
Marky to hurry up, man. He's too busy.
So which one of us is in line first?
Hopefully me. That's all I can say. Guys, where you go, but hopefully I'm in line first.
We'll have to call him after this and find out.
Yeah, for real. I'll shoot him a text. Hey, before me.
Right.
Well, we've got you on, Matthew. Any chance that you're going anywhere before the season starts at Oakshade? Are you guys looking at traveling at all?
Man, not sure. Just between my work and everything like that. I got a pretty good boss. He races sportsmen down there, but still, when work gets busy, I got to stay there and get everything done I can. So it just all depends on just how it's going right now. But probably not until Oakshade opens, unless something really spikes my interest.
All right, very good.
All right, man. We'll see you at the track, and congratulations on a runner-up finish. Very close runner-up finish.
Absolutely. Hey, we appreciate it, guys. Ron, you'll be seeing us soon with a $100 gift card.
Yeah, not a problem. Just pop in and let me know what you want.
Who's getting the vintage American race car, pink hat, and what else was there you had, Ron?
T-shirt.
Who's getting that?
Well, I don't know.
Evidently, we're going to have to draw for the T-shirt and the hat.
Yeah, right.
To split them up.
We'll have Chapman and Faller fight over it.
I think Mackenzie ought to get the pink hat.
I was going to say, I think one looks better in the pink hat.
I think Mackenzie needs a pair of pink hair clippers, man. He needs a hair.
All right, Mr. Chapman. We'll be talking to you.
Nice seeing you guys.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks again, Matt.
Yeah, it looks like I saw Kingseed trying to join again, but he is not in here. So unfortunately, you just want to tell him what Kingseed walked away with here for finishing in third.
Larry Kingseed Jr. did take. I think he
Third
narrowly
place.
beat out. Yeah, I think he narrowly beat out Denny Whisman for the third place finish, and he'll be getting the 10 gallons of Sunoco race fuel. I believe they run the alcohol in the sprint car. So yeah.
Yep.
And they're kind of fussy. They're kind of fussy. I think they like clear alcohol.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. I just know I'm not allowed to have one. So.
All right. You want to go ahead? You got the winner right there with you, don't you?
Well,
a representative of the winner.
Yes, we have the car owner for the winner, which is the Jamie Faller. He is the car owner for the Terry Rushlow driven super stock. He'll be joining us. He's actually over here picking up. He beat the tire trailer in to pick up his new set of Hoosier tires for the super stock.
Hey, everyone. I believe I'm actually your first tire customer, aren't I, Craig?
Yeah, but you got the Craig Dippman.
Yeah, we need to. Should we switch spots real quick?
There you go.
Let's switch spots.
I could just do that too. Yeah.
Now you're going to screw that. There you go.
Boy, that sure fills up the frame.
Here, let me slide back a little bit there. Yeah, we're all good. Well, and right here we have and I'm pretty sure he's going to be utilizing his winnings probably before he's going to be taken off. The winner narrowly beaten out Matt Chapman and Brian McKenzie. Like I said, these guys pulled off some votes that completely surprised all of us. Not sure how they did it, but they narrowly beat out Matt Chapman for the win and got the $200 first prize from Dippman Motorsports.
Yeah, when it came down to the votes, honestly, I can't really take much of the credit on that. Terry and I each shared it a couple times, but the majority of the credit there goes to, Terry's dad, Big Terry, and Sue shared it. Annie and Brittany, which is Terry's sister and his wife, they were sharing it a lot, trying to get as many votes as they can. And the infamous Johnny Raines was doing his best to get us votes too. So they're really the ones who went to bat to get us the votes for this.
And I'm pretty sure I did hear that I think John wound up in Facebook jail over it.
He did. He tried a little too hard. He wound up getting put in timeout for a little bit.
Nice.
So
yeah,
in addition,
pushing it right to the limit with what their capabilities were. Like I said, they blew my mind with what they came up with numbers.
yeah, there was a lot of votes for both cars there in that final matchup. I was just looking at our stats, and for the past week, we reached over 100,000 people.
Sweet, sweet. That works for me.
Yeah,
And it wasn't rigged either, Scott, because the program only allowed one vote per computer per login
per Facebook account. Yeah,
right.
So yeah, you guys won that. You also got the $50 gift certificate from Big D's Pizza. We'll get Dean Henry to get a hold of you guys for that.
Does he deliver?
He does, but I'm not sure how far. Probably not quite to your area. But he will deliver to your car, I believe, if you pull up to the shop in Clyde.
But that delivery area could get larger depending on the tip you're willing to leave.
Right.
Yeah, or if it's somebody coming to be on our show in the studio and they're bringing pizza, like the Kingseeds.
Yeah, that worked well.
Yes, it did. Speaking of which, I saw Kingseed pop in here again, and then now it's gone again. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, Jamie and Terry, your driver.
Yep. We will be using that money, though. That will not be going towards the tires. We will actually be using that for Terry's Hans device. We're using that for the driver safety gear. That's the last piece of safety equipment we have to pick up before we can head to Eldora. So.
No, you're running Eldora in Lima Land.
Yep, that's the plan. We're gonna run the full season at Eldora. We'll see how many races that actually turns out to be. As of now, our first race is scheduled for June 13th. Hopefully, we're able to get that in, and then we're gonna hit Lima when we can. With Terry and I both working, Fridays are kind of hard to make it every night. So we're gonna try and make it when we can and get out and have some fun.
Very good. Well, congratulations.
Yep, thanks, Scott.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ron. Craig.
Thank Craig. This was all his idea.
See you, Jamie.
A collaboration of a lot of people's idea, but
I was the one that spearheaded it and talking to the right people to be able to put it on.
So are we going to do this again next year or something similar?
I am really hoping that we can get paired up with one of the actual real in life car shows next year and be able to have a joint effort to where we can put some prizes and get this kind of stay with the same theme here and be able to do also in person. I would really like to continue what we started.
I know some guys that put together car shows at a mall who aren't interested in doing it anymore. Maybe this will spark their interest. I don't know.
That sounds good.
All right, Craig. Well, we'll see. Go get some sleep. From what I hear, you haven't had much sleep.
Not today. No, we got one more day of work, so we'll or one more night of work. So yeah, we'll get a little nap and head in and try catching up on the weekend.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll see you at the track soon.
Yeah, right. Excellent. Thank you guys both for what you guys brought to it. And like I said, we need to especially thank Pam for kicking in the pit passes out there at Oakshade. Corrigan Race Fuels for kicking in the Sunoco racing fuel. Ron Miller up there. And thank you, Scott, for having us and being able to push this and getting it out there, putting it on and putting the brackets together. It was really smooth how it managed to handle.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how it was going to work, but it worked out okay.
Yeah, it worked great.
Yes, it worked out great.
Well, we had Larry Kingseed there for a moment, and he popped away again. So if he pops on, we'll congratulate him a little bit later. He's got that 10 gallons of Sunoco race fuel, right?
Yes, he got the Sunoco race fuel, and then he can message me on Facebook or however. Phone number's up on my page, so he can catch up with me to be able to get that fuel. So,
very good.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
See you, Craig.
Craig Dippman there. And coming up here shortly, we should be having Steve Partin from Brush Creek Motorsports Complex down there in Peebles, Ohio, joining us here shortly. Before he joins in, though, we got a lot to cover here, too. Should we get at it? Ron?
What? Yeah, why not?
Okay. I needed your approval to move on here.
I don't see a problem with that at all.
So we had some racing last weekend, the real kind, not the iRacing kind. David Gravel took advantage of Ian Madsen jumping the cushion, coming to the white flag to win at Knoxville on Friday night in World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Series action. Madsen held on to finish second, followed by Logan Schuchart. Next up for the World of Outlaw Sprints is Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55 on May 22nd and 23rd. We had some racing at Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55 on Saturday night, which I watched some of, and then I fell asleep before the feature. But I watched the heat races and the consies, and I did see that Billy Moyer was on a milk carton because they couldn't find him. Did you see any of that, Ron?
I did. That was pretty crazy.
They needed him for the redraw, and they kept pushing it back, and finally he showed up and drew. And he drew good enough that he won. So it worked out for him. He led all 50 laps of the Carl Chevrolet 50 to pocket the 7,000 to win. It was only his 841st dirt late model win. Brandon Shepard finished second with Devin Moran third. Rusty Schlenk had gotten up to third before retiring with mechanical issues. He ended up finishing in 19th. And they actually had a cool deal that Carl Chevrolet put on for that, where they had a deal where two drivers could start from the back row, giving up their starting position of winners of the heat race. They had to win their heat race. Then they had the option after their redraw to give up that starting position, start at the rear, and get an extra $10,000 for winning. So a total of $17,000. And a couple drivers took that challenge.
It was $1,000, Scott, on top of whatever you won, and I can't remember which driver it was, but he made it up to 8th. He had a very good payday, and probably wouldn't have been that any farther forward than that had he started in his regular position. It was a fun race within a race to watch.
I'm sorry I fell asleep before that. Lucas Oil Late Model Series were supposed to be in action, but weather forced the cancellation of the events Monday through Wednesday at Lucas Oil Speedway in Wheatland, Missouri. Their next race is now scheduled for Thursday, May 21st at Golden Isles in West Virginia, in Georgia. Not sure where I got West Virginia from. World of Outlaws, Morton Buildings Late Models. They were supposed to return to action this weekend at Federated Auto Parts Raceway. And they have been rained out, canceled due to weather for the Friday and Saturday races at Federated and Monday's race at US 36 Raceway. Weather has canceled those 3 dates. Next up on the schedule for the late models is now Jackson Motorplex in Minnesota, coming up on Friday and Saturday, May 22nd and 23rd. The All-Star Circuit of Champions season will kick off with a doubleheader May 29th and 30th at Park Jefferson International Speedway in South Dakota. And one other note here, iRacing this past weekend, Denny Hamlin. And I apologize, last week I had said this race was on Sunday. It was actually on Saturday, which I didn't realize until Sunday when I went to watch it. And I read something that said that Denny Hamlin won yesterday. I'm like, well, what the hell? So,
Scott, if one of our listeners could let us know, I know Rusty Schlenk was headed down to the Magnolia tonight, and there was a possibility of some kind of heavy weather there. So if anybody has any update on that, just put it in the comments and we can pass that along.
Very good. I saw he was doing some testing at Federated on Sunday or Monday. I don't remember. I think it was right after. But anyway, the Real Heroes race, let me start over there. Hamlin won the eNASCAR race, iRacing Pro Invitational Series event at North Wilkesboro. Was the final event in that little series. Real Cup racing resumes Sunday at Darlington. That is Sunday at 3:30, and that will be on Fox. It's the Real Heroes 400, and then they will be racing again Wednesday night at 7:30 on FS1. There will also be an Xfinity race Tuesday night at 8 p.m. on Fox Sports 1. And I have their updated schedule, too. They released the second phase of that. They released originally, they're doing a few races at Darlington and then Charlotte the following week. But now they have some more races scheduled beyond that we'll talk about here in just a little bit. I just sent a message to Steven Partin here. See, he's supposed to be joining us from Brush Creek. Larry Kingseed. Oh, Chrissy says rained out. I'm assuming
rained out. Saw that.
Kingseed was not able to join us there, but he's in our comments. He's watching.
Due to technical difficulties.
Yes. Thank you for being in that, Mr. Kingseed. And we'll have Craig, or get a hold of Craig Dippman on Facebook, or we'll have him get that fuel to you. Did you see the deal at Doherty Speedway in Boswell, Indiana last week?
Yeah.
Are you following that?
That got a little intense there for a while.
Yeah. So Doherty Speedway was going to have a race. We talked about this a little bit last week on Saturday in Indiana. And he did not like the response he got from the governor as far as what they said they could do. So he was going to run the race anyway until he got a cease and desist on Friday, I believe it was. And then they put barricades in the road, and he couldn't get to the track. And then he made a Facebook Live video that we shared trying to get to the track because he wanted to turn off his water. Apparently, he couldn't just walk there. He had to drive and have the barricades. But the best part was that the whole time he's there with the cops and they're waiting for someone to move the barricade, the key is in the lock, and they just had to go over and turn the key and unlock the thing. But
I wonder if that might have been intentional, Scott.
I think there was a little bit of attention getting going on there, a little publicity, but yeah. So, anyways, he didn't race. NASCAR, as I mentioned, has announced the second phase of their schedule, but they also announced the cancellation of 3 race weekends as they continue to adjust the schedule amid the COVID-19 pandemic. The event's originally scheduled for Richmond Raceway on April 18th and 19th, Sonoma Raceway on June 12th and 13th, and Chicagoland Speedway on June 18th and 21st, or through 21st, have been realigned to other speedways and will not be rescheduled. The Cup Series and Xfinity Series events originally scheduled for Chicagoland have been realigned to Darlington. That's this weekend. So the Chicagoland races are now going to be run at Darlington this weekend. The Cup Series race at Richmond has been realigned to Darlington on May 20th. The Sonoma race, it's been realigned to Charlotte. That's coming up on May 27th. Chicagoland was also set to host the NASCAR Gander RV and Outdoor Truck Series and ARCA Menard Series events on June 18th and 19th, and those will be reassigned at a later date. Sunday's Darlington race lineup will be set by a random draw, which I think they did right at about 6 o'clock tonight. If you're listening to us on iHeartRadio, that was Thursday. And I got a message from our official correspondent, Matt Swander, on the ball. He said Brad Keselowski drew for the poll for Sunday's race at Darlington.
Did you see any of the race procedure for that?
Well, going on about that, they're going to be using the finishing order from the race on Sunday as the basis for a pair of inversions for the race on Wednesday at Darlington. They're going to invert the first 20. So if you finish 20th, you're starting on the pole on Wednesday. And then 21st through 40th will be inverted. So if you finish last, you're going to start 21st. And the Coca-Cola 600 is supposed to have qualifying, which is coming up a week from Sunday.
For this Sunday's race, there will be no qualifying, no practice. The first lap that the drivers run in those race cars will be the green flag.
Yeah. And it sounds like the coverage is going to be a little different too, because Jeff Gordon and Mike Joy are going to be in that same studio that they were for the iRacing events. They're not actually going to be at the track. I believe
only
they're
one live pit reporter.
Yeah. So, and I was reading some of the stuff. I get a lot of the press information from NASCAR, and it sounded like the Associated Press reporter, they're going to have very few press allowed on the track or at the track, but the Associated Press is going to be the official liaison for the rest of the press to disseminate, I guess, all the information. And they're going to have a lot of automated cameras, so there's not going to be too many camera folks at the track. So it'll be interesting to see what the broadcast looks like. And you're right. I mean, there's probably going to be a lot of people tuning in, not just because they miss racing, but just the curiosity factor.
Something.
Yeah, well, the curiosity factor of what's this going to look like now? Is this what racing is going to look like from now in the future? I don't know.
Scott, real quick, we obviously we're a racing show, but they're talking about baseball maybe coming back around the 4th of July. With social distancing being what it is, and we were talking about this morning, there has been some experimenting in baseball with using computerized ball and strike calls. So the umpire may not be necessary to call balls and strikes. So they could accomplish social distancing, and the home plate umpire could still be available to do what he does when he's not calling balls and strikes. It could be another interesting twist, kind of like what we're seeing with the racing at Darlington this weekend.
Are we going to have a virtual flag guy?
Ooh, I don't know. Did you see that we got a message from Larry Kingseed? When you get a chance, you might want to read that, because he did want to thank his sponsors. And
well, let's go ahead and do that right now. Again, Larry, our third place finisher in the Dippman Motorsports Virtual Car Show, had some problems connecting tonight. He wanted to thank Craig Dippman, Hammer Down Racing Report, and thanks for all the voters he had. His sponsors, including Firelands Marine Construction, Hermes Parker Concrete.
Hermes Parker Concrete.
All right, we'll go with that. Big D's Pizza. We like them.
Big D's Pizza.
A+ Auto Center, Sky Catholic Protection and Pipeline Services, Megat Sandblasting and Painting, Shanks Vickery Tavern, and North Coast Roofing. So there you go. There's your time. Sounds like Chicagoland Speedway may have hosted its last race. Looks like the property will be turned into a new development. So Flagman's too high to catch a virus, Terry Kane says. Well, if you're Matt Swander, I don't know how high he is, but no,
he's up there.
Yeah.
Did you see that Chrissy said that the mag is running Friday night?
Oh, okay.
They postponed from night till tomorrow.
KBR Development, which recently began what was supposed to be its second full season in the ARCA Menard Series, is shutting down. In 2019, the team ran a full ARCA Menard Series schedule with the number 28 entry, which was driven by Carson Hosever, Sheldon Creed, Raphael Lassard, Brandon McReynolds, and Stephen Parsons. Prior to the 2020 season, the team moved from Michigan to Statesville, North Carolina, and hired multi-time ARCA champion Frank Kimmel to serve as the team's general manager. However, Kimmel was later sued by his former team, Venturini Motorsports, who accused him of stealing trade secrets. The two sides have since reached a settlement agreement. You might remember we talked about that whole deal with Frank Kimmel.
That was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It sounded like something from a spy movie.
Yes, it did. If for more information on that, seek out one of our, I don't remember which show that was. We talked about it a few months ago, though. Longtime IndyCar Series crew chief Larry Currie died Friday at the age of 68. Currie succumbed after having suffered a series of strokes during the last couple of years. His career in racing spanned more than 4 decades. Currie is best remembered for giving Tony Stewart an opportunity to race IndyCars. In 1996, Currie convinced team owner John Menard to hire Stewart, who won the USAC Triple Crown the previous year. Stewart finished second in his first series race and went on to win the IRL title in 1997. The low point in Currie's career came when he was convicted on embezzling $1 million from Menards and served 2 years in prison back in 01 and 02. So there's that.
It's not a good way to keep sponsors.
No. Atomic Speedway is working on putting together a couple of pay-per-view shows without fans before opening up to fans with a Meet the Drivers Night coming up on June 20th. What else we got here? 46-year-old Michael Donovan was arrested after threatening to use a weapon of mass destruction against Darlington Raceway. Did you hear about that?
I caught some of it, not all the details. Fill me in, Scott.
Well, there was.
That's it, huh?
There wasn't too much details, but he was booked for possession, threatening or attempted use of a weapon of mass destruction for an act of terrorism not resulting in death. The case remains under investigation. So I don't know what the motive was for that.
I was going to say, what
was he not a NASCAR fan, or was he mad that they weren't racing there soon? I don't know what the details were, but obviously the guy is not in his right mind.
What was it that PO'd the guy?
Yes. Don't know. Or maybe he was mad because they weren't allowing fans. I don't know.
Maybe.
The
so
U.S.
let's just blow the damn place up.
Yeah. No, if I can't enjoy it, nobody's going to enjoy it. U.S. Motorsports Association has announced the formation of the Ohio Motorsports Coalition, focusing on the safe resumption of motorsports across the state. This is what I wanted to talk to Steve Partin about tonight. A letter from the coalition has been drafted and will be submitted to Governor Mike DeWine, specifically asking for participation in the governor's responsible restart plan. And that kind of was announced today. I'll save that down just a little bit before we get into that. Indiana's USAC schedule will resume with a busy stretch of 7 events in 8 nights, including the rescheduled Indiana Midget Week mini-series. The AMSOIL USAC National Sprint Car Series kicks off on June 14th at Tri-State Speedway. Indiana Midget Week was originally scheduled for June 2nd through the 7th. It will now kick off on June 16th at Paragon Speedway and run every night through June 21st at Kokomo Speedway. All USAC events held during June in Indiana will follow state guidelines limiting seating capacity to 50% at all venues. Toledo Speedway and Flat Rock have adjusted their schedule once again. Saturday, June 6th, great inflatable race that was scheduled for Toledo Speedway. It's now canceled. That's that deal where the people run through inflatables like an obstacle course. Saturday, June 13th, the Rusty Wallace Experience also canceled at Toledo Speedway. So they're canceling more things further out. Flat Rock Speedway has canceled the Saturday, June 6th school bus figure 8 race. Actually, it's been postponed. A rescheduled date is under consideration. June 13th race date is canceled, and the June 14th Go-Kart Club event is also canceled.
What state is that in, Scott?
That's your state.
Yeah.
Due to the uncertainty of specific dates for future racing events, the advanced sale of tickets for general public attendance at all events has been suspended until further notice. That is for both Toledo and Flat Rock. And now the good news. Sandusky Speedway this afternoon has announced, and I don't think you even knew this, it was late this afternoon, they got the all clear to race with no fans starting after May 26th, which means they will race May 30th, Saturday night, with no fans. Same, and from what I saw from their Facebook Live video, they're going to do it with their support classes, no modifieds, but they will pay the full purse for those classes. And they're working on a live streaming deal.
That's pretty cool.
So, and that came about because of the announcement today where gyms are going to be allowed to open up, and non or low contact sporting events, which ours you could say is a non-contact sport, not direct human to human contact. So I think we're okay there. And there's still some guidelines that I was looking for. They hadn't posted it yet on the Ohio government site, which I can't get to right now, but so I guess there's some more details forthcoming on that. But as of right now, Sandusky is planning to go racing without fans on Saturday, May 30th. Now, I know Oakshade still has May 23rd. That date is still green as of right now. But
may be in flux.
Maybe in flux, yes. So we'll have to keep an eye out on that, what the exact details are. I know they've been in talks with the local health department out there. And I guess Steven Partin may be blowing us off here tonight. I talked to him just 2 nights ago. He was all excited to come on, too, from Brush Creek. From what I do know, and I kind of wanted him to tell the story, was they were going to put on a race this past weekend, were in talks with their local health department, who weren't going to let them race, and they went to court. And on Friday, the judge approved that allowed them to go on with the racing event with limited fans in attendance and, safety procedures, the guidelines, following the guidelines to keep safe, social distance. And he was able to do that. So I kind of wanted to talk to him to get the details on what exactly, what plans were in place for that, how we got through that, because I'm sure a lot of tracks in Ohio are looking at how he did that.
Well, no.
So I guess we'll move on. But it sounds like racing maybe just around the corner. Might be here soon. NASCAR's second installment of the schedule with no fans in attendance goes something like this. We have coming up on Saturday, May 30th, Bristol with the Xfinity Series, and then Sunday will be the Cup Series. June 6th, the Trucks and Xfinity Series and Cup Series. Actually, June 6th and 7th will be at Atlanta. Then we're looking at a Wednesday for Cup race, June 10th at Martinsville. And it's just a Cup Series there. And Miami will be on deck for June 13th and June 14th with Trucks, 2 Xfinity races, and the Cup Series. So the Xfinity Series is going to race both Saturday and Sunday. And then Talladega, June 20th and 21st and that ARCA Series coming back. This is a big deal too. ARCA's debut will be at Talladega on June 20th, followed by the Xfinity Series on the same day, and then the Cup Series on Sunday, June 21st. So they're still working on the rest of their schedule. And these dates all without fans, just on TV.
Right.
So
unless some government official opens up whatever state they're talking about.
Well, you notice most of those are in the southeast, so they're kind of
things are happening so fast with lawsuits against governors, and there's just nothing etched in stone right now.
Yeah, not yet, but like you said, it's a lot of how the local health departments interpret the rules that are given out by the state governors or the orders.
Yeah, and I know a lot of the state legislatures are trying to coerce the governors into relaxing their shelter-in-place policies. It's crazy. It really is.
Yeah. So as soon as we get some updates on some of our local tracks, other than Sandusky's, the only one we have an update on as far as going back racing, they are planning on May 30th. So we'll follow that story and see if that holds true and how their live streaming deal may work out. They're going to do, I talked to Doug Dock a little bit this afternoon. They're working on a free streaming thing. So we will, Steve said he will try to get in now. He had dead equipment issues. Oh, okay. Well, Steve may still be joining us here shortly. While we wait for him, how about we move ahead and do our how many? Because that's like the last thing I have here anyways.
Sure.
So last week's how many was how many World of Outlaw sprints going to be at Knoxville last Friday, right? And that turned out to be a invite race where 48 cars were invited and 48 qualified. So that's the number I went with, 48. And you had 57, I said 56, so I was the closest as far as us being on the show. Our winner of a big...
Dean Henry won because he knew that.
He didn't put the number down, though. I don't think he just said it was invite only, but I don't think he put a number. But our online winner was photographer Charlie Orns.
Really?
Yeah, he guessed 51. So he was 3 off. And the second closest was also 3 off, but that guess came later. So an honorable mention goes to Brandon DeLong, who guessed 45. But we're going to give Charlie Orns the winner of last week's how many. He's getting the Big D's pizza. Get with Dean Henry, and he'll hook you up with some good pizza.
Scott, I was thinking that we've got to have Charlie Orns on the show here pretty soon with all the work he's been putting in, putting photos up of Toledo, Flat Rock, and Oakshade Raceway on their respective remember pages. Oakshade Raceway remembers, Toledo Speedway past.
He does have a lot of cool old pictures.
Oh my gosh, and it just goes on and on and
on. So this week's how many? Did something a little different this week, and it does have to do with the Cup race coming up on Sunday. It is the car number of the 10th place finisher in Sunday's race at Darlington. The car number of the driver that finishes in 10th in the Cup race on Sunday. You can put your guess now in our Facebook Live broadcast comments for a chance to win a Big D's pizza, whoever's closest. will get that pizza. If you guess the same number as someone else, whoever guessed it first will get the credit for that. So there you go. 10th place finisher.
10th place finisher.
10th place. Who's going to finish?
What's your guess, Scott?
Are you going to make me go first? I'll go first. I'm going to go with 21.
Ooh, I was going with 21.
Well, you're going to have to pick something higher or lower now.
Ooh, 20. Ha!
How many other people you got in there? You got more people to guess?
No, everybody else bailed on us. We just got Kathy in the background.
All right, well, she got a guess then?
Oh, yeah, probably.
And that would be?
I'd go with 22 just so that Scott can.
It's got it covered, yeah.
Oh, she's going with a low number. She said 2.
2, okay. I believe 2 is the car that'll be starting on the pole.
Yeah.
Keselowski. So he's going to lose 10 spots. That's what she's saying.
Could be.
So, oh, look. I think we might have Steve now. Let's bring him in. Well, he was there. He was there for a minute. I saw him pop in, and then it went away. Again, Steven Partin, owner of Brush Creek Motorsports Complex down in Peoples, Ohio. And, hey, I see him now. We're bringing him in.
Get him quick.
We're getting him. Hey, we got him before he disappeared.
For somebody who's 23 years old, I could operate my cell phone better than this. But
yeah. Well, hey, it's better late than never, and we appreciate you joining us.
I apologize for that. I was actually at the racetrack, and my phone went dead, and then I was like, oh, my goodness, and I was running around, found a phone charger, and I hate being late, so I do apologize.
That's all right. Steven Partin, you're the owner of Brush Creek Motorsports Complex?
Our family owns it, and my title is, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on the day, promoter. So.
And you were actually able to run some races this past weekend.
Absolutely. We had it was cold, but we had a good night of socially distanced racing for sure. So
tell us what you had to go through to be able to hold the racing event. Yes.
Yeah. So just kind of a little bit of lead up to what had happened was we had 2 races in April that when all this came out, we kind of pulled the plug on because at first the numbers were looking horrible, how many cases per day there was going to be and the deaths. And so we, just to see how it was going to go, we pulled the plug on those races. One was sanctioned by the World of Outlaws, so they kind of pulled the plug on that as well. But when it came time for our season opener, May 9th, we felt like after reading what everybody was doing and the numbers, the socially distanced lifestyle was working, keeping the cases numbers down, and so we thought we had a plan in place. We went ahead before we got advised by anybody and released that we weren't going to have any fans, and we were going to do special things to keep social distancing as much as we could. And our local health department didn't like that idea as well, and so they issued us a letter that would have been probably Monday or Tuesday of last week, and said that if we didn't cancel in 3 hours, that they would file an injunction in court. And they ended up filing that injunction in court, and graciously our Adams County court system got us a court case the very next day. So the judge was able to hear it. And every interview that I do, I can't thank the court system enough. Whatever the outcome was, the judge at least heard both sides. It would have been easy for him to say, no, I'm going with the health department on this one, but at least he heard the facts from both sides, and we both got to go in there. So even if we came out on the losing end, I was just glad that he took, it took us about 3 hours, and he heard us for about 3 hours on a day that normally was an off day for the court on Friday. So, great. Luckily, he heard us out and heard what we were doing. He asked that we do a couple extra steps, like check temperatures on people before they came in, and limited the number of people that could come with each car. And other than that, he graciously allowed us to race not only last weekend, but the order says every weekend thereafter. So, we're good to go. We have a race scheduled this weekend, and really it went smoothly, last weekend. Sometimes dealing with racers, you don't know how it's going to go, and I was a little nervous if people were going to actually socially distance, but what I've been telling everybody is I think people are ready to do whatever it takes to get back to a little bit of normal right now. So, everybody kept their distance, and it really did turn out good.
Now, did you have to turn anybody away on Saturday?
We actually did, and I hate, promoters. We're always begging people to come, and you hate to turn people away. But part of the deal was if no out-of-state racers, unless they did it professionally for a living or could show proof that it was a job of some sort to them. And we have an enduro class, which is just, you take a car and knock the windows out and you go racing at the end of the night. And unfortunately, some folks came from Kentucky and didn't have the proof that they raced enduros for a living, and we had to have them turn away. And I hate to do that, and I feel bad for them, but I felt like the judge went out on the limb and set these rules, and we needed to do whatever we could to abide by them. So that was the only case that I know we had to turn somebody away. Other than that, everybody pretty much followed the rules.
Steve, what would happen, let's say hypothetically, if you had a racer that was a very regular at your track, but was from out of state? How would that play out?
Unfortunately, in this case, unless they could prove that they did it in some form or another as a form of work, they took income in some way, which I think for racers that took it right off the bat, it's easier than they think. Most racers, if they claim it on their taxes, I think that they could say in some form or another that it was a side business of theirs or something like that, which, I wasn't asked to. They just had to have some kind of proof with them. But luckily, most of our regulars are from Ohio. I have a few guys from Kentucky it was disappointing not to have them, but yeah, again, we were given a blessing to be able to race, and I was going to make sure that we did what we had to do to keep those rules in line.
And you're down there in Peebles, Ohio, so Kentucky's not that far from you.
Not that far, yeah. We are a border county, so right across the river is Kentucky. So we do have several racers come from Kentucky, but I didn't feel like anybody didn't come that wouldn't have came on a regular night. So I was kind of relieved as far as that goes. But the main thing is we got some racing in, and maybe not with fans, but we had pay-per-view there, and we got some cars on track. So,
what classes did you present?
So we did late models, modifieds, sport mods, and legend cars, and then had our enduro when it was all said and done. But the late model turnout, unfortunately, the way we had to do things, we did entry fee with 100% payback, and late models, just the cost of those cars doesn't really make it feasible for a guy to come out for that payout. And I understand that. So we only had 11 of them. This week, we're going just with our regular classes. We don't normally run late models weekly. So we're going with our regular classes, just the modified sport mods and legend cars, and we have a Crown Vic class. But still, it was exciting we had, I think, 20 modifieds and 32 sport mods, and by the time it was all done, we had about 30 legend cars. So we had decent counts all around.
So what were some of the measures you had to take to be able to put on the racing, other than taking the temperatures? What else did you have?
Yeah, I mean, everybody had to have a face covering of some kind. We had 2 separate pit areas set up. Since we didn't use our general mission parking, we set that up for some classes could pit in the general mission. The rest of them used the regular pits to kind of space everybody out. And then we made sure they were 6 foot apart. We made sure that groups stayed apart, and we just kind of took extra, or any step that we could take. We hired a deputy to not harass people, but just to kind of be the enforcer in case something happened. And he had a good report when it was all over. Nothing bad happened. So, it really, I can't thank the racers enough for following the rules. Probably better than I've ever seen racers follow rules. And I can't thank my staff. I'm the guy doing the interviews, but it wouldn't be for my staff, we wouldn't have had that race. I mean, Friday night, once we figured out we won the court case, I'll be honest with you, we kind of went in not thinking that we really had a chance against the government entity. And boy, would you know, at 4 o'clock, we were like, we're racing tomorrow. So we had, crews till 9 or 10 o'clock at night, cleaning the restrooms and just doing little things. Well, another thing was we couldn't have any concession sales. Concessions were closed, which I understand that. Restrooms had to be limited to 1 person per restroom, and we had people sitting outside making sure that there was only 1 per restroom. So it was a different race night for sure. It was weird, but it worked out.
So what was the response from the racers and fans?
Fans obviously were disappointed that they couldn't come, but the guys at Pit Road TV put on a great production for pay-per-view. Our general admission is typically $15, and for $20, they could sit at home, watch the pay-per-view. Two buddies get together. It's cheaper than both of them coming to the races. Now, I get it. I'm a race fan. You want to smell the fumes and get the dirt thrown in your face, but it was a good alternative. I think we had over 300 subscriptions to the pay-per-view in one night, so fans got to watch, and the drivers were just happy to be on track. A lot of them said, whatever we got to do, we'll do. So, it was pretty laid back, honestly, once we got rolling.
Does that
Two quick questions. First of all, how many people per car were allowed in the pits?
Yeah, so it was a driver and 3 crew members, so 4 total per car.
All right. Do you see the state of Ohio relaxing things any further, or is this going to be a way of life for a while?
I see promise with other things. Other tracks are getting done now. I mean, we kind of opened the door for tracks to go to their local health department and say, listen, these are what this track got by with. These are the things that we're willing to do. Just up the road, it's not a neighboring county, but it's 2 counties over. Jackson County Speedway just got approved to have races with the same kind of stipulations. And I was actually on a Zoom call earlier today with several promoters in Ohio that are working on, forming a group to see what they can do to go to the state and say, we're willing to do these things. Can we get approved to race? So, Lawrenceburg, Indiana posted today that they were approved to run with 50% capacity in the bleachers on June 20th. That's June.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's June. But, unfortunately, though, also in the same token, our local, after our court case, I've had discussions with the local fairgrounds here, and our fair is in July, and they're trying to discuss how to host a fair without any patrons there. So things are looking things are looking good in some ends, and on other ends, I don't know. I hate taking things week by week because I'm a guy that likes to put out a schedule as early as I can and stick with that. I don't do a lot of schedule changes, but it seems like I don't know what we're doing next week until this week comes. So
that group you were mentioning, was that the Ohio Motorsports Coalition, and,
yes.
And are you guys part of that then?
So we were on the call this morning, and they're working on getting things together. I guess you could consider us part of it. I don't know how they considered it. There was about 30 or 40 of us on that call from around Ohio. So I didn't even really know about the call until Rick Schwally from Lucas Oil sent me an email and said, I think you need to sit in on this. And we got in on it. So, we're all trying to figure out the best way to go about it in our area, because every health department's different. I mean, Moeller Raceway Park's in Brown County, a neighboring county, and they were told absolutely not. We don't care what Brush Creek did. So it's tiptoeing around, and I feel bad. But also, one thing I told the promoters, what the state has pretty much set an example of what they want us to do. I don't know if the state's going to be lax just because we got 10 of us together. So I think I still stand that I think the local route is the best way to go, because one thing that our judge kept bringing up was, the local revenue that the track brought into the county, and the attention that the race brought to the county. And somebody in Columbus doesn't understand a racetrack's value to a local community, a small town, like the folks in that small town do. So, I think some of the things that our Governor DeWine announced today are promising. I mean, they're talking about reopening public pools, and one big thing is horse racing. If they can race horses, we can race cars, I think. But so I think we're getting closer. But I don't know if it's June, July exactly when we'll be back to normal this year. I don't know.
So I have a lot. I think we just lost Ron. have a lot of tracks been contacting you? As far as getting advice as to how they could go about reopening.
Yeah. So and if any track's watching this, I'm willing to help any way I can. I've sent a couple tracks our court ruling just to have in their hands. So if they do have a meeting with their local officials, they can say, here's a copy of exactly what was laid down. I've helped places like Jackson County Speedway, who got approved, with the next steps, like how we set up pre-registration, how we got signed up on the Pit Pay app where people could pay for pit passes on their phone. We had if you didn't want to contact a staff member at all, you could show up with your Pit Pay app on your phone, have pre-registered already, and just roll out on the racetrack. I mean, we had it all laid out and done. So I'm trying to help. I'm a race fan at heart first and foremost. And so if I can help race and get back underway in some form, I'm happy to do so.
So you're kind of like a pioneer, you're blazing the trail for everybody, all the other tracks in Ohio. They're watching you.
That's what I've heard. I tell people, we didn't grab the bull by the horns and say, we're going to be the guys, to take down the man. But the opportunity presented itself to at least go in and make our case heard and kind of speak for not just racetracks, but small businesses across the state. And, thankfully, I feel like we won one for small businesses, because one thing I've always said and said in court was it doesn't really make sense to me why, mom and pop's flower shop isn't open, but we can go to Walmart and buy flowers because they sell groceries. So, I think we're going the right direction, and I do think this has changed racing and the way we're going to sign in at tracks and the way we're going to buy our pit passes, for a long time to come. I think after this, you're going to look back and say, things changed right about the time the coronavirus hit, and it's all because of it. So
I initially, and this was before I got to all the details, I had thought I'd heard that you did have some limited fans at the track, but not the case. Any idea when you think that may be a reality? We can get fans back at the track?
We're looking. My ideal goal would be, our governor says the stay-at-home order ends on May 29th. But the more they talk, the less that I think that just because the stay-at-home order ends, I don't think that we're going to be able to have at least full capacity. I wonder if we'll have full capacity all year, to be honest with you. I mean, they still haven't set a date for theme parks and water parks to be open. And, some people's talking about the NFL trying to think about what they're going to do come September, October. And if the NFL's worried about September, October, that's the end of race season. So I think we're going to have to learn to live with a little bit of this, unfortunately, uncertainty every week, and dealing with pay-per-views and dealing with, Facebook Live is blown up, people doing stuff on Facebook and things like that. So, I don't know what's next or when it is. Unfortunately, we just got to take it one step at a time and just be glad that we can get cars on track. So.
Now, is it financially, does it make sense for you financially to be doing things this way? I mean, can you continue to operate this way, or is there going to be a point where, you're not making any money because there's no fans?
It's tough. It is tough. Racetracks are tough business anyway. I mean, depending on weather, and welcome back. Their racetracks are tough. I don't know. It all depends on how you go about it, really. Because the way we did it was we took a pretty conservative approach. We said, listen,
Mm-mm.
I think we're losing you, Steve.
we get that it's not ideal, but we're taking 100% of the entry fees and paying back to the top. Sorry, I should have full bars of service here. Have you got me?
Yeah, we hear you. You froze, but I hear you. So.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You kind of became a little bit of an alien there for a minute. What you got some racing coming up this weekend then? What's on tap for this weekend?
Okay. All right. All right.
Are you there, Steve?
Just a small show, modified sport mods, legend cars, and a Crown Vic, socially distancing. Yeah, I can see you guys. Maybe mine.
We're hearing you every few seconds. So, anyway, we appreciate you giving us the time tonight and talking to us, because a lot of people are interested in what you have going on down there at Brush Creek, and like I said, you're like a pioneer in getting racing back here in Ohio. And,
I know we've got a few promoters watching our show too, so you've helped them. Thank you.
And Sandusky Speedway announced this afternoon, I know you were talking with those guys on Tuesday, that they plan to go racing without fans based off of DeWine's order this afternoon, where low and non-contact sports can get back get back at it. Started on May 26th, I think it is. So they're looking at that following Saturday going back racing. So, well, I think we've lost him. But thank you, Steven, for giving us some time. Steven Partin of Brush Creek Motorsports Complex down there in Peebles, Ohio.
There may be a light at the end of the tunnel, Scott.
There may be. We keep losing people. You know, this time it wasn't my camera that went out. You disappeared and we lost Steven, but
I had to log out and then log back in, and it was fine.
yeah, I saw you pop in a couple times. But anyways, that's about it for this edition of the Hammer Down Racing Report. We appreciate you tuning in. Kind of had a supercharged episode. I don't know how the heck we have these long episodes when there's no racing going on in our local area. I'm kind of worried.
What are we going to do when it goes back to full-time racing?
That's what I'm saying. I'm a little worried when it happens. We're going to have like a 4-hour show. It'd be ridiculous. So make sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Hammer Report. You can also check out our broadcasts at or on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. We still put these on there as well. It's just not live, and but we got a lot of likes this past week. So we appreciate everybody for following us on Facebook and everywhere else. And of course, you can also listen to us on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Google, wherever you listen to your podcasts. It shows up about an hour after we're done with our live broadcast on Thursdays.
Just make sure to like us. We want to be your favorite podcast.
Yes, we do. Again, thanks to our sponsors, Ron Miller Race Cars, Kester Mowing, Big D's Pizza, Oakshade Raceway, and Racing for First Responders. Make sure to support them. And congratulations again to all of our winners from the Dippman Motorsports Virtual Car Show. I had a lot of fun with that.
Absolutely.
So next week, I'm open for ideas. I haven't come up with anything. I know we were going to have Gary Lindahl, announcer from Flat Rock and Toledo, on tonight, but he was a little technically challenged with this video thing, and we're going to wait till we have our phone system back and we're back in the Ron Miller Race Car studio.
We've got if he has Wi-Fi, we've got an extra laptop with camera and microphone. Maybe we can
throw them
set up.
Throw them out in your parking lot there.
Whatever.
Outdoors, maybe outdoor Wi-Fi. That'll be allowed. Is that allowed up there in Michigan though? I'm not sure.
No, I don't know. We've got a partner desk here. There's two sides to it, and we can be 6 feet apart. Not a problem.
All right. Well, I am more than 6 feet apart from you.
Oh yeah.
And it looks like this may be the new normal, at least for the unforeseen future.
You have no idea how much I dislike that term, Scott. New normal.
The new normal. There's a lot of new normal.
There's nothing normal about this, whether it's new or not.
Well, it becomes normal after you've been doing it for so long, and we've been doing this now for a few weeks now, a couple months.
8 or 9 weeks, yeah.
When does that? At what point does it become normal? When are we allowed to call that normal? Pam Hendricks, Oakshade Raceway, says everyone email the governor to tell him open up racetrack soon.
Yes.
I don't know the governor's email address, but I'm sure it's probably at ohio.gov. Right?
Google has it.
It's probably not Mike DeWine at hotmail.com, but that'd be fun to email that. Just do that anyways. Did you get my email, by the way? I emailed you my show prep just in case my camera cut out again.
I don't think I did. Maybe.
Do you have the bex.net email address?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That's what I sent it to. Okay.
Actually, the shop got kind of crazy this afternoon, and I hadn't looked at my email for a while.
All right. Well, and I think Dave even emailed you some of the stuff. So again, thanks to Dave Kemmerer and Matt Swander as well for helping out, our associate producer and field correspondent. So there we go. He's on Twitter. Oh, Governor's on Twitter. You can tweet at him too. I'm sure.
Mike DeWine.
Yes. Tell him we want to go racing. Well, it sounds like we are going to go racing. It's just a matter of what the exact rules are going to be as far as people allowed in the pits. Down at Brush Creek, Steven said 4 per vehicle, driver and 3 crew members. So I guess we'll see. We'll see what they decide for the entire state, because that was what he worked out down there in their local county to be able to do that. So I wanted to ask him, actually, wish we still had him, if all this extra publicity, maybe scaring him a little bit, where it's kind of shining a light on them saying, hey, they're racing. How come we can't? Hope not. He's getting
Like he said, it's going to come down to the individual health departments.
There you go. If you're interested in being a sponsor of the Hammer Down Racing Report, you can shoot me an email, scotthammer@iheartmedia.com, or a message on Facebook, however you want to do it. And if you have any show ideas that you'd like to see us cover, you can also send that to me or Ron as well. So let's get out of here. We've been doing this too long tonight. We'll be back next Thursday
For show number 131.
Things change so quick. I don't know what we're going to be doing next week. We may have something come up at 3:00 on Thursday that changes as far as what we do.
Whatever it is, it'll be a great show and great news, whatever.
Yes. All right. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
You have been listening to the Hammer Down Racing Report from the Ron Miller Race Car Studio. Listen on demand on iHeartRadio.